Beautiful.
Yeah, so Chris and I are here to take your questions today. So if you've got any questions, we'd love to hear them. If you could put your location in the chat with your question, we will make sure that Chris can tailor his answers to meet your climatic conditions.
Yeah, it's good to know where you are, because we have, even within Victoria, you've got different climatic situations, but then as you go interstate and then as you go overseas, it varies enormously.
Yeah. All right, so we might kick off today with, I'll just run through and have a look at the chats, because last week we had an amazing amount of questions, so that was fantastic. I will quickly have a look at our...
Actually, I was thinking, just to get started, we might have a little show and tell. And what I've got here, have a look here, we've got, if you've got a deck, you want to put a pot plant in, mandevillas, incredible source of colour. Look at these beautiful white mandevillas, these lovely red mandevillas. And you can put these on a trellis or a frame. They'll grow 1.5 to 2 metres tall, and they flower and flower and flower, really from before Christmas until winter time. So lovely evergreens, masses and masses of beautiful, bright, colourful flowers. And then look at this gorgeous hibiscus here. Have a look at this beautiful hibiscus. This one is called, what's it called? It's called Adonicus pink, and it's the most gorgeous pink. It's a really, really beautiful pink. And you'll find these grow fine in Melbourne. You put them like in a nice little sort of heat pocket that you might have, nice sunny little corner, sort of a sheltered but sunny corner, and you can have continuous flowering all summer long with beautiful evergreen tropical hibiscus. There are non-tropical hibiscus, but this is your tropical hibiscus. Then whoever heard of putting ornamental onions in your garden? Have a look here. This is an ornamental onion. It's called an allium, and it's in the onion family. I'm not sure if you can eat it or not, but it's great. It has beautiful lush green foliage, and then these lovely little mauve flower heads. Then I bet you that no one has ever seen a jacaranda flowering at such a young age, because most jacarandas are grown from seed. But what we've got here is we've got a grafted bonsai blue jacaranda, and what's great about them is that they'll flower right from the first summer that you plant them. And the reason why that is that they're grafted and they're sexually mature. So what you've got is a beautiful sexually mature one, and with the bonsai blue, it's got, this is a sort of a almost spent flower. They've almost stopped flowering, but I just wanted to illustrate the fact that you can buy a nice little bonsai blue, and it's sexually mature and ready. So you're not waiting. Sometimes you can plant a jacaranda and wait 5 or 10 years for flowers. Here you're planting a jacaranda and you've got flowers in the first summer. These won't flower this summer for you because they're finished, but next summer this should be another metre or so taller and have 4 or 5 beautiful blue blooms, and you'll have blooms every year. So that's a grafted bonsai blue jacaranda. So that was just a few little interesting bits and pieces in the garden. And the other thing I might mention is if you go online and you spend over $100 at the moment, if you go online and spend over $100, we're giving away, this is a Gardenia magnifica. That's the tall growing luscious foliage one with the big white fragrant flowers. We're giving away a $30 Gardenia magnifica this week for free when you spend over $100. So incredible online deal when you spend, and Gardenia magnifica is one of your most sought after and popular gardenias. Lush green foliage, tall growing, and big white fabulous fragrant flowers. Magnificent, in fact, that's why they call it magnifica.
Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to kick off with Katie Millie Rickard is back on Instagram with us. My silver bushes, 1-year-old, were thriving in Queensland. Now they're starting to get yellow leaves in the centre and looking unwell. Any thoughts on that?
I'm worried. What it is the wet season is on, and I reckon you could be suffering from wet feet, and because even in Melbourne, you find your gardenias can get a bad case of wet feet.
Yeah. Okay. Katie, I hope that's helpful. Might be a good idea if you can transplant that one to lift it up. No?
I don't think you'll transplant. I think you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Unless you can contact the Weather Bureau and stop that wet season from coming. They might be able to get them to call off the wet season and save your silver bush.
Oh, okay, so Katie's just said I've been watering heavy with the heat.
Right. So back off on the watering, and
cross your fingers.
Yeah. And
your toes.
Most silverleaf plants, your silver bush included, are fairly drought tolerant. So it seems to be the common denominator of silverleaf plants that they're more drought tolerant than their green leaf counterparts.
Yeah, they tend not to lose as much water through their leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well
designed for a more arid region. Yeah, so back off on the water. The drainage or wet feet is the problem. And I think growing silver bush in Queensland is a little bit ambitious.
Yeah, it's a bit out of its region, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'm trying, apologies to anybody who's on Facebook, I'm trying to get myself across to Facebook to have a look at some questions, but I do have another one. Why are my indoor plants dying when they're close to the window or the glass doors?
Well, it depends. Some indoor plants don't want too much light or sun or heat, and like say your maiden hair fern, for instance, you'd keep that well away from a sunny window. But other things like your mother-in-law's tongue. So if you want to put something in the sunny window, here's some real toughies. You could go for mother-in-law's tongue. You could go for, and there's a lovely version of it now. You could go for an umbrella tree, and there's a lovely compact umbrella tree you can get. So your umbrella tree, your mother-in-law's tongue, your rubber plant are all going to do fabulously in a nice sunny window. And then other things like your spathiphyllum or your maiden hair fern, get them. They like a bit of light, but they want to be back out of the direct sun. So it's a matter of choosing the right plants for those sunny windows.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Peter Lamb's back. Okay, Pete. Sorry, thanks for coming back in. Can gardenia plants grow indoors?
I don't think they're an indoor plant, but what you could do, say you grew a gardenia in a pot. I'm sure you could bring it in for 2 or 3 weeks, no problem at all. And so you could bring them in for the flowering, and you could grow. So if you wanted to enjoy a gardenia indoors, what I'd do is I'd grow it outdoors. I'd grow it in my al fresco area or something like that. Bit of morning sun, afternoon shade, and then I'd bring it in periodically.
Okay.
For 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and I don't think you'd have any problems with that. So yes and no.
All right, yes and no. Let me see, what else have we got here? If you're on YouTube, you can also leave some comments in the chat. We don't get many comments in the chat in YouTube because most people are coming in from Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, but we're watching that. Okay, all right. So, even though I've been watering quite deeply, my plants look limp. What's wrong there?
I wonder, like I went to somebody's garden for a garden inspection, and they had moist soil, and it was new soil that they'd brought in, and they had gardenias that were wilting in moist soil.
Yep.
And what I would put that down to is that soil was poor quality and probably pH, a high pH and a bit of salt. Like sometimes they use a deep mine sand from Karaman. You got a bit of salt in there, and you got a bit of high pH, and that can cause the plants to be short of water even though the ground's moist, because that's what salt does. Salt inhibits the flow of moisture up through the plants.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it could be something like that, or it could be they're just not watering deep enough. And like we've got a few good videos up on watering, and what it is what you could try is you could try using a bit of soil wetter and try upping the volume and the thing is, you talk about the pulse watering, Jody. The thing is perhaps to, instead of giving it one big water, give the 2 or 3 little waters, 2 or 3 smaller waters, half an hour apart, even a couple of hours apart, and you'll find the water. So if you use a combination of soil wetter, and soil wetter helps the water move through the ground really well. If you used a combination of soil wetter and pulse watering, where you water once and then you leave it and water again, you might find that you're getting in deeper and getting to the right spot. So it's either going to be a problem like a little bit of poor quality soil with a little bit of salt in it or something like that, or you're not getting the water in good enough, and the answer to that is soil wetter and pulse watering, where you don't do all one big water but several waters.
Yeah. Okay. Now, got a question from
Actually, I was going to say one more thing.
Go for it.
In Melbourne, they reckon it's going to rain on Wednesday.
That'd be
Now,
nice.
as I drove around last night, I was out doing a delivery and an install of a little garden, and I was driving through St Kilda, and I couldn't believe the number of dried, sunburnt plants and and I thought it's incredible. Like, for the want of a bit of water, a lot of people, like I was looking at one car yard and all the trees in front of the car yard were dead.
Oh no.
And it doesn't look so good, like new cars, dead trees. Doesn't look so good at all. At any rate, and I was surprised. It was the BMW, a Mini Minor dealership, sort of on the way out to St Kilda, and dead trees in front of their yard. And what it is obviously no one knows how to water, or no one has the job of watering, or maybe they want the landlord to water. I don't really know what was happening, but for some reason they hadn't watered them. And I was thinking that for the want of it, landscaping is really expensive. This is what I was thinking as I drove by. I think landscape, I saw some beautiful plush offices and all sorts of commercial buildings as you drive around near the Albert Park Lake there, with singed and dry and dying plants. And I thought, wow, landscaping is really expensive, and for the want of a bit of water, these plants, could be lost, and they might have to re-landscape again. But at any rate, what it is, somebody told me, like, it was raining last night, and somebody told me that it was the first rain in 55 days.
Wow.
And,
I believe that.
Yeah, I hadn't been counting or watching, but I kind of believe that too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is the strange, funny thing that I'll tell you, is that even in my garden, we've got some deep down dryness, and the best way to tackle that is to get out there, sprinkle a bit of soil where you've got plants that are shriveling or dying, or leaves browning, sunburning, all those sorts of things, all signs of dryness. If you were to put some soil wetter on,
yep.
and if you were to wait till it rained on Wednesday, and in the rain put on more water, that would be the best opportunity for a deep soak.
Right.
Because what it is when you go out on a hot sunny day and you water the ground, you're probably watering for 5 minutes before it even sort of cools the ground down and the water starts to penetrate. But when you've got rain, like I found the way to get water, like deep dryness, a way to tackle deep dryness is to water in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I had
get it down.
I used to keep a big field of trees right in the middle of Emerald. And in summer, whenever I got a good rain, I'd put the sprinklers on, and people would ring me and say, "Chris, you've got the sprinklers on and it's raining," like as if it shouldn't happen. But in actual fact, that saves a lot of water, because you get the water down deep with the assistance of the rain. And so I was thinking that people really in Melbourne, if we've got some good rain coming through on Wednesday's the day to get those poor trees that are shriveling up and drying on the front lawn, to get some moisture down nice and deep and save them.
Nice one. All right, so we've got Mac27 who's joined us on YouTube.
Hey, Mac.
Thanks, Mac. Hello, Chris. I want to plant silver birch into my sticky clay. Got any tips?
Yeah, silver birch is a great tree for your sticky clay, and the reason being is that, say, other trees that are more of a taproot, silver birch is not really a taprooted tree. It's a shallow rooted tree. So all you have to do is get your sticky clay and cultivate it, chop and dig it, and you don't have to cultivate 6 or 8 inches deep. Add some nice new loose soil to that, or some potting mix, and then make a shallow soil, and then a pine bark mulch on top of that. The birches just love the pine bark mulch. So a pine bark mulch over shallow cultivated soil, with some, some potting mix or some good loam mixed through the clay. So you don't have to go down deep to make a birch happy, and then keep them well watered. And they love to spread out on top of that clay as long as you've got 20 or 30 centimetres of good soil on top of the clay.
Okay.
And then pine bark mulch, you can't go wrong with pine bark mulch. And the thing that birches hate more than anything else is they hate grass around the base. So where a lot of people go wrong is that they'll have lawn right up to the base. And you often see, I often see landscape pictures of beautiful birches with lawn right up to the base of them. And I've tried it, and the birches never do any good. You've got to have them in mulch. So if you a great way to grow birches is birches love each other's company. Grow 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 birches together in one patch, and mulch it, and have no lawn there. Like to have a nice mulched area, and you can decorate that nice mulched area with things like the silver bush or I love, in amongst birches, I think that Panacetum succedatum, that grass with lovely fluffy heads on it, can look really nice. So make that into a mulched area, have shallow cultivated soil and a bit of pine bark, and plant them fairly close together and give them plenty of water. And birches with plenty of water, a tiny bit of fertiliser, not a lot, tiny bit of fertiliser, plenty of water, they'll absolutely boom for you.
Excellent, love it. All right, just having a look for some more. We do have some more questions in here, so I'm just looking for those. All right. So Max says, thanks, mate. Another one, can cutleaf birch grow in sticky clay?
Cutleaf birch are much more demanding of good conditions than silver birch. So if I had hideous clay and I wasn't going to fix it, I'd grow a Betula nigra, a black river birch, and they'll grow in a repulsive bog. Silver birch is then tougher than your cutleaf, and then your cutleaf, I've only ever seen really good cutleaf in really good soil, well watered, well looked after. So cutleaf, they're called the Swedish or Dalkarlica birch. They have a really beautiful, and there's nothing worse than a sort of a miserable cutleaf birch in bad conditions, and there's nothing better than a beautiful cutleaf birch with perfect conditions. So if I had terrible clay and I wasn't going to improve it, it'd be a black river birch, and then average conditions, silver birch, fabulous conditions, think about a cutleaf.
Excellent. All right, so we've got Bell Smells. Is it too hot to plant a tree right now? Should I wait until the weather is cooler?
Right, people get themselves confused with trees. Now, say it's 44 degrees, you feel terrible, and you imagine that your tree's going to feel terrible if you feel terrible having to do anything at 44 degrees. But in actual fact, the reason why horticulturalists have hothouses is plants love heat. But as you get more and more heat, you need more water. So a plant in a very hot situation needs plenty of water. And so you should, and nurserymen are madly potting and growing their plants, and when it's not hot enough, they actually what happens when it's not hot enough, the nurseryman complains that the plants aren't growing, and when it's nice and cool, they're happy because but when it's hot they don't make the sales, but when it's cool they make the sales, but the plants don't grow. So nurserymen love the heat. Plants love the heat, your trees love the heat, and as long as if you plant them correctly, and perhaps in the heat you might use some chemical soil wetter, mix some potting mix in so you've got good permeable soil that can, and then water them well, and your plants, like planted this time of year, plants are going to take root within a matter of days, like within 10 or 12 days they'll have roots out into the new soil, whereas in winter it could take months to get them moving. So in actual fact, now is the time to plant. But and remember that the plants are loving the heat. You may be hating the heat, but a plant with inadequate water will shrivel up in the heat. But with the right moisture, they're going to thrive.
Excellent. All right. Belle has asked, what are the best blueberry varieties? In particular for nice clusters of fruit. I have space for 3 plants.
We've got a special on at the moment, and they're both really good. And we've got Northland and
Yep.
Sunshine, and they're
Sunshine,
both nice
yeah.
compact bushes. And as they're coming in from the grower, I've been eating the blueberries off them, and they're terrific, really nice. So Sunshine and Blueberry, really great choices, and we've got them on special at the moment.
Sunshine and Northland.
Northland, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, fantastic. Yeah, they are. They have been looking very good, the plants that have been coming in. So, well done, Chris. All right. Now look, I don't know why, but I can't find any. I can't see any questions coming in from Facebook. So I'm okay.
We're
All
not
right.
on, yeah, Facebook, we've got a technical difficulty.
Aha! I've been spending a lot of time trying
So
to.
if you're on Facebook and you can't see me or hear me, go to another platform.
Another platform. Fair enough too. All right, so let me just go through. I know we've got a lot of comments on TikTok. Do we stock almond trees?
Yes, we do, and we have a self-pollinating almond.
Yes.
Oh, actually, we have dwarf self-pollinating almonds, and then we have large growing self-pollinating almonds.
And that's what the lady brought in yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, good. So they don't need another another type of almond tree to get almond nuts. Okay, beautiful. Becca Ash sent us a heart. Thanks,
Thank you.
Becca.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so Queen of the Rats. Hi, any recommendations for plants to grow in a front yard that's almost always in sun? It gets up to 45 degrees here. It's very dry. Now I'm going to assume this is inland Victoria, South Australia or New South Wales. Queen of the Rats would be really handy for us to be able to know where you are, because then we can make some better recommendations.
But let's imagine they're in that sort of somewhere like Shepparton, Riverina, Dubbo, that sort of country like that. And one thing I'm kind of in love with at the moment, there's a thing called pink owl. It's an Escallonia, and it's gorgeous, beautiful. You could Google it and have a look at beautiful sort of middle pink, not sort of garish pink, but lovely soft pink, and beautiful soft pink, evergreen, medium size, and that's a fabulous plant. Then any of your, and because in those hot inland conditions, you've also got to consider frost. So something like your Escallonia pink owl, and then you've got your Indian hawthorns, and your Indian hawthorn, you've got your spring pearl, and you've got some lovely pink Indian hawthorns, and they make a beautiful round shape, and they really stand up to the heat beautifully. Yep. And then another fabulous plant, something that's sort of soft and nice, and something that looks delicate but ain't delicate at all, is your society garlic. Society garlic, I see them in Shepparton growing on roundabouts, unirrigated, absolutely thriving and doing fabulous. And they've got beautiful, you can get them with a nice stripy white leaf and beautiful mauve flowers for 6 months of the year. And I'm just thinking, I did a big garden for a friend up in Shep, and anyway, things that have done really well there are like your sea lavender. Beautiful plant. They've absolutely flourished, and they flower. They got big blue flowers for most of the year, and they got beautiful lush foliage.
And they hold their flowers for a very long time.
Yeah. And another thing that's done really, really well is coprosmas of any sort. Any coprosma. They seem to be tougher than cactuses, and you've got, if you want a soft colour, you've got lovely green and yellow ones called lemon lime, and then you've got reds and oranges. There's a tequila sunrise is very popular. Pacific sunset is very popular, and that's a red and tequila.
I think we've got Babylon out there, which is really lovely green with some red edges.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, in fact, we could even get a coprosma and show these people. But coprosma is a great source of colour. And then you've got your nandinas. Nandinas, fabulous source of winter colour. You've got things like your moon bay nandina, and your moon bay nandina and your dwarf nandina. So really, really good source of colour. So they're all things that people really do. And of course you've got your roses. Your roses, frosty in the winter, hot in the summer. I think the roses actually grow better in those hot inland conditions than what they do around Melbourne, because around Melbourne we're a bit more humid in the summer, and we tend to get more fungus and disease in our roses, whereas you find that the roses stay cleaner and more beautiful up there. And another really good thing is your agapanthus. And now your giant agapanthus could be a bit coarse and a bit gross, and the foliage and everything they have in the garden. But there's some beautiful dwarf agapanthus. My favourite being Snowball and Peter Pan. But here's now super duper tough coprosmus. Let's have a look here. This one here is called Pacific Sunrise. It's sort of a pinky one. Then we've got Chameleon, which is kind of greens and reds. And then we've got this one here, which is a yellow and green. That's lemon lime. And then you've got your Pacific Sunset. Your Pacific Sunset's got lovely rich reds in it. And there's plenty more colours in your coprosmus. But inland, the frostier and colder it is, the brighter the winter colour, and the hotter and drier it is, the better they grow in the summer. So really the toughest plants around, and great in that sort of hot country, which I imagine is going to be inland and going to be frosty in the winter.
Wonderful. All right, John Hughes has joined us, and John has said, do we have any cat trees, K-H-A-T trees? I'm not too sure what a cat tree is. I can probably, if a person wanted a cat tree, they could talk to our sales team here. We don't have them listed or anything like that, but what they're talking about is Catha edulis. Catha edulis, yes.
And Catha edulis is a, some people think it's a drug, but it's often referred to as a stimulant. And you chew the new growth on it, and it's a kind of it's a stimulant, and we can obtain those for a person.
Lovely. I'm far better on my botanical names than I am on my common names.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So John Hughes says, Roger that. Thank you. All right. Hey Chris, I'm down in southern Victoria. I've got a front yard with some developed conifers and a weeping cherry. I'd love to include some natives, but stick with similar styling. Any recommendations? So that's from Squeaker94.
Okay, so what you want is a kind of like some bridging kind of things. Now, things that I would consider are your acacia limelight. They kind of harmonise with your exotic plants. So I think acacia limelight, and then your cousin-it. And limelight and cousin-it can each be purchased as a standard as well. So you can have them as a standard or have them as a ground cover.
It almost looks like a truffle tree. It's got that sneed look about it.
Yeah. And then some really nice flowering natives that kind of fit in with your exotic garden. Be like your Pimmlia. There's some very nice scaevolas that flower for months and months and months and give off plenty of colour.
Yep.
Some really nice showy scaevolas. So you could look at some scaevola, some Pimmlia, and your purple brachyscome, and all of those. I think all of that sort of blended together. So highlighting that your limelight acacia and your cousin-it, either done as a standard or a ground cover, and then some nice flowering plants like your Pimmlia and your scaevola and your brachyscome and your brachyscome, and I think I like the purple brachyscome the best, because the white one tends to go hollow in the middle and look a bit sad after not too long.
Right. Okay. And I think what's good about like those scaevolas and the Pimmelias as well is that they come in a range of colours. So they come from you can get pink, whites, pinks, no purples in the Pimmelias, but definitely you get nice red, nice deep pinks, soft pink, darker pink, and the scaevolas, everything from white to pink to mauve to really deep, very rich purples.
That's right, yeah. Within those, you've got a good range of colours.
Yeah.
And I think that they could blend, all of those are plants that could kind of cross the line into the exotic plant world and kind of not look out of place.
Yeah, I reckon if you didn't tell anybody that they were an Australian plant, they probably wouldn't think that.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, so Squeak, I hope that's been helpful. Ren Shorty, we are planting a native garden, but are on a bit of a time crunch to get it done. Any tips on ensuring success when planting in the summer heat? Ren Shorty is in Western Australia, so very hot and dry. Okay. And I would say probably very like hydrophobic soil.
Yeah,
soils.
so hydrophobic sand. So the key for you will be some organic matter, but you don't want stuff that's rich. You don't want like where they blended, what they call a three-way mix, which is 30% chicken manure or anything like that. What you want is some real mushroom compost. It doesn't have a high. If you've got real mushroom compost that came from a mushroom farm, sometimes people sell mushroom compost that doesn't come from mushroom farms. So I don't know how they reconcile that, but
I think the way I interpret that is it's compost made for mushroom growing. So it hasn't grown mushrooms in it yet, so it hasn't had all of the hot stuff taken out of it by the mushrooms. And what you're talking about is mushroom compost that is aged and has done its job.
Yeah,
and
it's spent. Yeah, and that's fabulous. Mushroom compost is fabulous stuff because the mushroom farmers spend well over $200 a cubic metre making the mushroom compost.
Yeah.
And because they spend so much money on it, it's a really fabulous product. And when it decomposes, it's wonderfully. It's had all the nutrients pulled out of it, and it's a beautiful texture, nice pH, really good stuff. But some organic matter that isn't full of chicken manure, because you don't want your sandy soil full. Some good organic matter, mix through the sandy soil, and then plant with soil wetter. Dig nice and deep. Mix that organic matter right through down deep under the plant, so that the plants are like in a little cocoon with sand and organic matter. Soil wetter on the top, and the other thing is that top circle, like this circle here, that circle that you see there, put that right at the top, so that when you put the hose on it, the water goes straight in. Because your sands tend to, even with soil wetter there, they tend to be hydrophobic, and they can stop the water getting down. So if you have a slight depression in the sand, and then have that circle there, and mix in the compost all around, and use your soil wetter. And your soil wetter, you can go into Bunnings and get yourself soil wetter. I think I prefer a powdered soil wetter to a liquid soil wetter, because it's easier to put. You plant each plant, put a bit of fertiliser, and you can use a bit of native Osmocote and a bit of soil wetter, and just sprinkle the powder. I like the powder one, just sprinkle it around the base.
So the granular one that we have here, it's basically coconut shells that have been ground down to a fine granule, and then that's been impregnated with plant sapopines, which are the things that lather when you rub two leaves together. And that's what is that's the chemical that we're using. All right, beautiful. And Chris, so you picked up that Coprosma Ignite. How good is that? Look at the colours coming off the top. I mean, if you wanted something that was nice and green and had a little bit of colour, that's a really nice one.
Yeah, and actually this weekend I've had a lot of people coming in for garden designs, and a lot of them have presented me where they've just got a large expanse of either artificial lawn, which I don't really like much, or real lawn, a large expanse of artificial lawn or real lawn, and they've just got little thin beds around the outside, and they're looking for some colour. And I've been using lots of Coprosma in different colours that suit that particular house. And I've been using the Coprosma because the Coprosma is one of the few plants that delivers year-round colour. Other flowering plants could give you a fabulous colour for a certain time of the year and then be kind of just green for the rest of the year. So Coprosmas have been high on my list because I've had lots of lawns with little skinny beds around the outside.
Yes, right, okay. All right, so Millicum is on Instagram and has said hi.
Hi.
So Millicum, if you've got a question, we would love to hear it. Just remember to let us know where you are in the chat so that we can tailor the questions to your location. All right, so Chris, we have a question, sorry. How do I get rid of citrus gall wasp?
You'd be better to answer that than me. Okay. I often dig the tree up and set fire to it.
I saw somebody.
That's getting rid of. That's a very thorough way of getting rid of the wasp, but the tree's gone as well.
Yes, we're getting any lemons that way. So I actually saw. You see some interesting things online. There's a lot of really choice videos going around on YouTube and TikTok, etc. I saw somebody absolutely butchering a citrus. I don't know what kind of citrus it was. It was probably a lemon tree. It was heavily infested with citrus gall wasp, which as an aside, is an Australian native insect, which typically lives among our finger lime community in the forest. So it's in our environment. We live in its space, really.
Yeah.
So we have to be a bit tolerant to that. You can be vigilant by watching for new little bumps emerging on the branches of your citrus, and the wasp will only lay its eggs into the soft sappy wood, really soft bendy wood or bendy branches, before it's actually become woody at all. And it's the eggs that are growing that create those bulges. So the bulges are not, an insect per se, but it's got little clusters of pupa growing in there. Now, I did see somebody with a potato peeler hacking away at the stem, and all I thought was, how do you think that that water and sugar is going to transfer to different parts of the plant if you've been hacking away at the cambium layer? So in my opinion, and you tell me if you think this is right or wrong, I think you're better off just giving it a really good prune, being vigilant, watching out for new bumps, and then cutting them, as soon as you see them. Give them a little bit of space, like give them a good fingers, for your index finger, the tip of your finger, give them that kind of space below the new gall that's emerging, and just snip it off, because when you're pruning them like that, you're encouraging new growth.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
I take note of what you said, and that is that the gall wasp only occurs on the new green growth.
Yeah.
And so I've got a customer, and he had a particularly wonderful lemon tree that he had for years and years and years, and it got infected. And what he did was he cut it back to an ugly skeleton, just a few twisted branches like that.
Yeah.
But a big trunk like that, the branches that he cut it back to would have been thicker than my arm. He cut it back to nothing. And then that old wood didn't have the wasp in it, because the wasp only goes into the newer wood. So by cutting it right back really, really hard, he eliminated the wasps.
Yep.
He removed all the material, sent it to the tip or burned it. I don't know what he did, but he removed all the material so the eggs weren't around.
Yep.
And it regrew, and it regrew clean.
Yes.
So, and then what a person like that could do if they were then vigilant. There's also a sticky thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, so there are some sticky traps. You can get them from your big box warehouse chains, where it's a long yellow tube that's got very sticky substance, and it also has a little pheromone capsule that attracts the wasps, and they will get stuck on there. But I highly recommend, because the wasps are teeny tiny little things. If you had a 5 mil by 5 mil wire that you could make a little cage around your sticky traps, that will prevent beautiful butterflies, moths, spiders, which are all keeping your garden healthy. Keep them from getting stuck and dying a very slow and miserable death.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
there are, and I think we talked a fair bit about that, but I think that was deserving of a big chat, because from my experience, I reckon that every second lemon tree and every second citrus just about in Melbourne has got the wasp in it. Yeah. I reckon the infection rate is very, very high. Now, one thing I've never seen, I'll just ask you about it, and I was thinking about it this morning. I had a lemon tree at home, which we pruned right back, that was badly infected, and my partner has pruned it right back. I would have burnt it myself, but she's pruned it right back. And it's only about 8 or 9 paces from a beautiful kumquat, and I'm yet to see a kumquat that's got the lumps on it. Have you ever seen a
I've never seen gall wasp in a kumquat either.
So I'm a bit fascinated by that, and I told somebody else that, and they said, no, rubbish, kumquat's got it, but I've never ever seen it. And I'm here all the time hearing complaints and problems from people tell me all their problems about plants and Even in marriage, they tell me all sorts of problems. But I've never had the problem of a kumquat that was infected. And my kumquat is years old. It was right near the years old lemon. The lemon was hideously infected, and the kumquat is not infected. And I wonder if somebody didn't hybridize a kumquat with a lemon and get that genetic immunity to the wasp moved across.
That could be a retirement project, Chris.
Yeah.
All right.
I have to put that off for a couple of years then.
Hey, you can start now. And
But I'd be fascinated if anybody out there could find a kumquat with lumps on it. Those lumps, because I've yet to see it. I've never seen it.
25 years doing this, I've never seen it either. Yeah, I've never had to prune one. So, all right. So 12 Hock 12 is on YouTube. Welcome.
So what's needed is a lemon quat.
A lemon quat. Chris, can you please post a tour of the garden centre? That's a really good idea, posting a tour, taking
That's
people
a great
around.
idea. I've been wanting to take my mum on a tour. She's in care at the moment. I've been wanting. She's kind of interested in what's going on here, and we'll do a tour and post it. Sure.
All right. Well, if Emmeline's listening, Emmeline, you can chuck that on the filming schedule.
Yeah.
All right. Shafali's with us. Hi, Shafali. Shafali had a garden design with us this weekend.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Hi,
so
Shibali.
What type of pine bark mulch is better for garden beds, 10 mil or 20 mil?
Look, if you're on top of the weeds and you've got a really well-controlled area, I like the 10 mil.
Yeah.
And what I love about pine bark, now, how often do I recommend pine bark to people?
Oh, actually not very often, to be honest.
I reckon I do it fairly often. And how often do I recommend a timber mulch?
Oh, never. That's a big no-no for you and me.
Yeah, so
maybe we could explain that. We could unpack that one in a minute.
Yeah, okay. So I never recommend timber mulch. Pine bark.
I just want to clarify. Sorry, you mostly prefer people to use a hoe.
Yeah.
But when you do recommend mulches, pine bark is the go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And what it is, I particularly dislike the timber mulches. I think that the red timber mulch, it reminds me of nuclear waste.
Yeah.
And then the black one just looks too artificial looking. And pine bark, but what I love about pine bark is I've used pine bark mulch myself, and I've used it over a long period on a garden. And what happens if you had fairly average soil and you put pine bark mulch on it for 10 or 15 years, you'll be amazed that the soil's fabulous. You could eat it after a few years, So pine bark makes beautiful soil. The worms must go up and down, and but you'll end up with really deep, beautiful soil from pine bark mulch. And the finer pine bark mulch rots down very, very easily and quickly. So I love the idea of putting pine bark mulch on, keeping on topping it up, and really improving the soil underneath. And plants love to run their roots through pine bark mulch.
Oh, I love it.
And most potting mixes on the market have a large amount of pine bark in them.
They
pine
do.
bark is very popular in your potting mixes.
And if you ever get potting mix where you can see like pale woody coloured bits of wood in the potting mix, throw it out.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Use it as mulch on your garden, maybe.
Right. And that's why wood's not good, because what it is that wood requires a lot of nitrogen to break it down. So when you get wood as mulch, or wood as potting mix, or wood in your garden soil, the plants can get very yellow and very hungry because of what they call nitrogen drawdown, which is the wood sucking up the nitrogen. And the wood seems to be able to get the nitrogen before the plant can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does. That's what takes the colour out of the leaves, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're getting to the end of our time now. So we've just got we've got another comment here from Led Zopsy, who's on Instagram, saying, I really like your videos.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And I'll just have another quick scan on TikTok, but if I don't see any photos, we might. Oh, Karen Webster's here. Karen's from down Warrnambool Way. Karen said you'll never retire. And Karen, I suspect you're right, actually. He needs to slow down a little bit and enjoy his weekends maybe, or...
Right, yeah.
You can make your weekends any time in the week, I
Yeah,
guess.
I like horticulture as much as some people would like surfing or something like that. So I'm happy doing horticulture.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. We've got one more question. Hello, Chris. Just wanted to say hi. Hope you're doing well down under. I'm in the US. We just got over a freak freezing event in Southeast Florida. Looking for plants that can survive 26 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right, but that's not far below freezing. It's a little bit. 32 Fahrenheit is freezing.
Yeah.
So a bit below Fahrenheit. So okay, so your evergreen magnolias are great for that. So any of your evergreen magnolias, your Indian hawthorns.
Indian hawthorns are great. We use them a lot.
Yeah. So Indian hawthorns. We actually have areas in Victoria that are that cold, and the sorts of things that we use. Euonymus.
Mm-hmm.
We use Indian hawthorn, we use evergreen magnolias, and we're talking about coprosmas. I wonder if you have those over there in Florida.
Yeah, it would be worth having a look.
These are little New Zealand natives, and they're great. They'll take lots of unlimited heat in the summer and cold, frosty winters.
And we can't give the Kiwis all the credit because we have our own native coprosmas here in Victoria as well.
and the other thing that we get from New Zealand is our flaxes, and during the war I think flaxes were used for rope making, but these days the New Zealanders have bred beautiful coloured flaxes. And what's really nice is to mix the coprosma with the flax. But the other good thing I was just thinking is your nandinas. Your nandinas are big in America, and you've got an even better range of nandinas than what we've got. But nandinas are great for those winter frosts, because what happens, the worse the frost, the brighter the colour of your nandina. Same with coprosmas, but nandinas colour up beautifully with frost. And what I love about, I remember my dad did a driveway with maybe 1,000 nandinas in his big long driveway on his farm, and on a cold, miserable day, driving into that driveway, it warmed the whole vista was warmed with those fiery red nandinas.
Yeah.
So nandinas are really, really good for those cold temperatures.
So the response is okay because all the crotons and Hawaiian TIS died. So I think like coprosmas are not a bad alternative to coprosmas to crotons in terms of their colour, because you have all the same colour range come in the coprosmas.
That's right. When people come in here, I get people that go on a tropical holiday and they want me to design a garden of crotons, and I won't do it.
Yeah.
In Melbourne, because they can look beautiful through the summer and disappear in the winter. And so I would tend to use things like coprosmas. I'd use things like New Zealand flaxes, and there's colourful cordylines that come from New Zealand too, which you do very well with. So colourful cordylines, flaxes and coprosmas, fabulous colour where you're going to get frost, and with a bit of frost your croton is gone.
Now a lot of people come in here asking if we have heliconias, and what do you say about why heliconias do in the winter in Melbourne?
Disappear.
Yes.
They disappear, they desert us in the winter. We plant them, they look beautiful in the summer, and what it is, it's all to do with people going for holidays up in the islands and up in so in Australia we go right through to a tropical climate, and people holidaying in that tropical climate have a wonderful time. They come back and they want it in their Melbourne garden, and what we have to do is reinterpret the tropical, give them the look that they want, but use the plants that can survive in our winter, and we use things like Japanese Aralia. And people love that spider Aralia with the white on it.
Yeah.
So we use things like Japanese Aralia, we use birds of paradise, giant birds of paradise. They're all things that do well and take our Melbourne winters.
Yeah. All right. We've got another comment and then one last question. Sunny says, I absolutely love tuning into your lives and
Thank you, Sunny.
And all of your videos. They help me so much with my job.
Oh, great.
So that's great. Now, believe it me, on TikTok, do you guys sometimes have tropicals like white sapote?
Never that tropical.
Yeah.
Like, what have we got that's kind of a bit tropical?
Well, you can grow white sapotes down here in Melbourne, but you have to have a very specific microclimate to have them growing well.
Yeah, like maybe a hothouse.
A hothouse, you can, if you've got the right spot,
Right.
yeah, you can certainly grow white sapote, but I think Stevie at Nishiki has got some sapotes that he's growing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think from memory, I think that was the case, but not typically.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all so very much for tuning in again this week. We really appreciate your questions. We love coming up with answers and particularly tailoring them to where you live in the world, because one question that's comes from Brisbane might be completely different answer for somebody in Melbourne. Or
That's right, like Heliconias.
yeah,
Brisbane is Heliconia heaven.
isn't it? It's Heliconia country.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for joining us. We will be back live again 12 o'clock on Friday for our Growers Direct Flash Sale. What's on the sale this week?
Well, we're adding a tropical flavour.
Well, there you go. How appropriate.
But the most amazing thing is the next job I have to do is I'm going to go around the nursery and I'm going to pick out a $1,200 advanced old Nabashadare, and we're going to put it up for auction with a 10-cent reserve.
10-cent reserve.
A 10-cent reserve. And what it is, we're going to, whilst we're doing the thing, we'll show the maple off, then we're going to do our, and then you're going to see what's happened is our grower, so that's part of what's happening. So through the auction, we'll be running the auction right for the whole length of it.
Yep.
And I don't care if it sells for $1.50 or $10 or $15, whatever it sells for,
Yep.
a $1,200 maple's going up with a 10-cent reserve. So
Amazing.
So that's an auction that we're running, and what it was, one of our customers said, why don't we auction a plant? And we thought, why not?
Yeah.
We thought that's an interesting thing. We'll auction a plant, and so we're going to auction a plant. But also, what's happened is we're having some tropical excitement. What's happened is that one of our growers, there's been massive demand for bougainvilleas.
Oh, there
and we've
has,
got
yes.
one grower that does a beautiful range of bougainvilleas, but they haven't been willing to sell them because as they're growing, they're madly propagating off them, building up their stocks. At any rate, I've been begging, I've been pre-ordering, I've been ringing her every other day saying, when I get some bougainvilleas. Anyway, she's finally released a whole range of bougainvilleas and we're getting them first.
Oh.
And what we're going to do is we're going to put, and then to celebrate, I'm going to chase up some frangipanis, and I'll have some frangipanis, and then I'm going to have bougainvillea, frangipani, and bougainvillea, frangipani, and hibiscus,
Yes.
all on the Grower Direct flash sale. And I'll be wearing my best tropical shirt, and we're going to have that nice tropical flavour with a crazy auction in the background, and 100 fabulous specials.
Yep.
That allows you to put together your garden on the cheap.
Now, Sheltered Wood Barb said, I've got 20 cents in my pocket right now. I'll take it.
Yeah. Now what you do is it's a 10-cent reserve, and whoever gives us the highest bid by the end of the thing, we don't care what it is, $5, $10, $100, but we're $1,200 maple.
Yep.
And to participate in that, you just have to come to our live.
Okay. You have
Friday.
to come to the live.
Oh no. Well, I mean,
Join us.
join the live.
Join
yeah.
us online. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Chris, I cannot wait to see that. If you're excited by that idea, then we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday, 12 o'clock.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.